Gerald, welcome to the picnic on the Fringe. I feel a bit bad though, because aren't you a bit out of your comfort zone here? This isn't quite your area of town, is it?
What, having a picnic?
Well, no, because we're
right.
at the Meadows.
On the Meadows, yeah. No, it's well, how could I resist it? You know, you've thrown such a fabulous spread. No expense spent, obviously.
Well, there are two types of biscuit. I mean, that's the spread that you've got.
And also, you've gone for the Scottish speciality of shortbread.
Well, that's the thing, is that people can decide whether they want to be...
No iron brew, though, sadly.
I should have brought iron brew. And I did force myself to drink it the other day, because...
What do you mean, force yourself?
I
That
don't
isn't
like
going
it.
to sound good in front of the Scotch people, as they like to be called.
It's not a nice drink, though. Do you like iron brew?
Iron brew? I'm not a great fan of pop, to be honest.
Oh,
but,
well, I suppose.
But iron brew, it's an unusual drink.
Well, the thing is, because I refuse to drink Coke.
So is whiskey, though, isn't it? It's an unusual drink.
It is.
Have you ever had
yeah.
whiskey with iron brew?
I haven't. No, is that an authentic...
It's an authentic Scottish house cleaner's drink, apparently. So
I should try it one day. I feel like my life's not complete without it, somehow.
Yeah, it's marvellous.
Marvellous, yeah.
Yes.
Authentic picnic. Anyway.
You are spoiling us with your supermarket lone brand lemonade.
Sainsbury's lemonade, yes.
Oh, don't drop the S-bomb.
Oh, no, but they're
trying to imply that it came from Morrison's or something for more humour, you know.
But they're the good one out of the supermarkets, aren't they? Maybe.
I'm not going to express political opinions about supermarkets.
It's not the place.
Comedians tend to stick to the lower brand supermarkets unless, obviously, they're talking about, I don't know, Morningside or Islington.
Fair enough.
I mean, there are only two places in comedy usually. That's like really posh places and really shit places. There's no middle ground.
No in between.
No.
But Sainsbury's is pretty posh, yeah, so that has a place, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you were going to go for posh, you would go for Waitrose, wouldn't you?
Nah, maybe. That is the ultimate.
So Sainsbury's, therefore, does not exist in comedy.
There is no
That's
Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I didn't think this was your side of town was because you're at the stand.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, it's a lovely area and a lovely room.
It's also it's the only place in the festival which is a comedy club. It actually is a comedy club. It's 24/7, 365, and some other numbers.
So the infrastructure's there, so they know how to do comedy.
Yeah, and it's the staff who run a comedy club all year round. Yeah, so they're not just people who are, you know, hiring a room and then leasing it on to somebody else to lease on to an artist and all the bolt-ons, etc., etc. It's actually a proper professional comedy venue, and that, you know, when you're working there as an artist, it feels like you belong there, which is that's the big difference. It's not like you've just come and camped in this place along with all the other people who are running your show. It's, you know, it does actually feel like a proper base where you know the people, you know.
Well, I think that's the thing. They really look after the acts, don't they? Whereas I think this side of town, quite often they feel like sheep. You know, and they're losing all this money, and
There's not really anybody, unless you've got a particularly good agent who comes and sort of babysits you. You haven't really got any base or you know, friends around you if you come. I mean, I worked, you know, before I was over this side of town. I was working on Cowgate, and I was at a big venue where there was a lot of people working, so there was quite a good vibe there. But I just think you can't knock the stand.
Yeah.
We're lucky as well in that the people who tend to come over to the stand are people who know the stand. Because it's a little bit out of the way. They tend to be people who understand that the venue. It's the other thing I've got to say about the venue that's so good is that the acts are chosen by the comedy club rather than they are just hiring out rooms to people who will pay the fee.
So will they approach you and say, "We really want to do a show with you"?
Yeah, I mean that tends to be how it works. It's like a booking at a venue. You know, the promoter will say, "Would you have you got a show that you could bring to our part of the Fringe?" Rather than you going and approaching people and say, "Well, have you got a room I can hire from you?" You know,
because automatically they've got the upper hand, and
they say, "Yes, how deeply would you like us to shaft you?"
No, and it's sad that it's got to that point. I think
it is. I mean, I have to say, I've got a lot. Some people have knocked the Free Fringe for various reasons, and I've got to say, I think that the Free Fringe represents what the Fringe used to be 30 years ago. You know?
No, and I think the Fringe has. It's very much true that the Fringe has turned into something else.
Yeah.
And the Free Fringe is now taken up that void, you know.
Well, as Tony Law would say, there are far too many guys in t-shirts noticing stuff. You know? And,
so much, yeah.
And I think the Free Fringe opens the door to, frankly, all sorts of things and some less predictable things. And people will say that's a bad thing because there's a lot of rubbish. But that's what the Fringe used to be. And you went into a show and you didn't know if it would be absolutely terrible or brilliant.
And you want to see some rubbish.
And
you do.
Well, the last thing that I want from a comedy festival is predictability. You know, to go in and just say, oh right, I will get an acceptable amount of laughs from a number of recognisable faces. That's not what I want. I mean, yeah, I want some of that. I want to know. I'll go and see people like Simon Munnery, who've been delighting me for years on end.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they aren't recognised by the sort of mass media. I love to go and see that. I think that's what the Fringe should be about. But also, I want to go and see some little people who I've never heard about and just see what happens.
Take a chance on it.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Now, your show is the School of Swearing.
Simon Donald School of Swearing.
Simon, yes. So it's your school.
It's an educational experience.
Is it? Well, is it a lecture? Is that what?
It kind of is a lecture. Yeah. I mean, it's a lecture which serves two purposes. Can I swear on this?
Of course you can.
It's a lecture which serves two purposes. One of which is to take people on a journey to the four corners of the four-letter word. So it's like a bit of history, a bit of science, a bit of social observation. But it's also a lesson in how to swear your fucking tits off. And that's kind of the way it works. So, I mean, I'm a great lover of writing knob jokes, let's say, for want of a better reason. You know, sort of easy, cheap laughs, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest belly laughs are the most childish ones. So there's a lot of that in the show. But then there is genuinely some references to science and history, and there's also quite a touching bit about my dad, which covers the whole. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it is in a sense educational. I mean, I couldn't get away from the fact that I'm kind of that way inclined anyway.
But you want to teach something.
I've got a head that sort of just picks up facts and then wants to reel them off to people. But I couldn't just do that at an Edinburgh show. That wouldn't make sense. So what I've tended to do is look at facts, look at interesting things, look at things that are in our everyday lives. You know, language that we use all the time. And how on earth did that become so offensive? Why do people believe that one word is more offensive than another? What's the story behind that? And then also introduce the idea that we can't just have fun with it, and that's where the sort of celebrity swears element comes in. There's this game show which appears in the middle because basically you can't obviously keep a class's attention throughout the day. So we all remember the time when a man in a brown dust coat would wheel a big television set in, and you would get to watch programmes for schools and colleges. So that's what happens. Only my programme is Celebrity Swears, which is like the game show Celebrity Squares, and I've properly got 9 celebrities, and they're all legends as well. They're not
no expense spared.
No expense spent, but also they are they're just people who, for one reason or another, I either now know or have bumped into. So real comedy legends to me. Some of them, Barry Cryer, Terry Jones, to name but two, and they have basically told me in a very short interview what their favourite swear word is.
Oh, brilliant.
So the people get to choose which celebrity they get to hear deliver their big swear bomb, and then I give a little lesson about that word. So that happens in the middle of the show. And then we finish with a sing-song. It's great. It's good fun.
But it sounds...
Audiences are loving it. We had the best singers in 2 nights ago. Brilliant.
And I think a song is needed in a comedy show. Well, it's not complete without it. And it's at the Stand 2.
Stand 2, 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m.
p.m. And
that's post-modernism.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. Thank you for coming to the picnic.
Thank you very much.
It's been a
pleasure. I'm going to go for the shortbread.
No problem.
Because
you're in
my
Scotland.
missus is one of those Scotch people.